Hi everyone, welcome back to Bow Tie Videos, where we explore the mysteries of our world and beyond. Today we're diving into a phenomenon that has puzzled millions of people around the world, in which a large mass of people believe that an event occurred when it did not. Welcome to episode 9, the Mandela Effect. Stay to the end when we unveil a Mandela Effect that very, very few people know about. Is it possible or even reasonable for a large amount of people to misremember events in the past and all to be totally wrong? Is it a glitch in the matrix, a sign of parallel universes, an attempt to hide history by the powers that be, or just the quirks of a human memory? Let's look together at some of the most famous examples and some you've never heard of and the possible explanations behind them. Let's see if the Mandela Effect is what it's cracked up to be. Let's start at the beginning. The Mandela Effect gets its name from former South African President Nelson Mandela. You see, a surprising number of people distinctly remember Mandela dying in prison sometime in the 1980s. Personally, I'm not one of them, but millions believe this. Most even recall news coverage from the funeral from back then. But in our reality, Nelson Mandela passed away in 2013, long after his release and subsequent presidency. This discrepancy between widespread memory and reality was first brought to light by Fiona Broome, a paranormal researcher. She coined the term Mandela Effect in 2009 after discussing these false memories with others who shared them. But the Mandela Effect isn't just about Mandela himself. There are countless other examples where large groups of people remember something differently from how it actually is. Let's take a look at some of the most famous ones first. Let me ask you this. The famous American cartoon series of TV and film, Looney Tunes. How do you remember it? Is it Looney Tunes or Looney Tunes? Now the obvious would be Looney Tunes, as in tunes, cartoons. And most remember it as that. But in actual fact, it's Looney Tunes, as in the musical notes. This one got me because I've always thought it was Looney Tunes. And mind you, it wouldn't be the first time I've ever been wrong. According to history, it began as a series of short films that originally ran between 1930 and 1969, along with its partner series, Merry Melodies, during the golden age of American animation, hence the reason why it's called Looney Tunes. Easily mistaken, and most have got it wrong. What about Rich Uncle Pennybags, aka Mr. Monopoly? Try and picture the front of the board game or the adverts for Monopoly. Can you, like me, remember him wearing a monocle? The little chubby fella in a black suit and top hat and a white moustache? You did, right? You did, he wore a monocle. Wrong. He doesn't and has never done so. This is the point where I started to take stock, as I can vividly remember him with a monocle. Okay, here's another. Shaggy. You know Shaggy from Scooby-Doo? Norval Rogers is his real name. That has no significance at all, just showing off. But Shaggy from the Scooby-Doo cartoons always had a prominent Adam's apple. He did. I know he did. I remember it so clearly. But nope, apparently not. I don't know about you, but now I'm stumped. How can we have such vivid memories of these things only for them to be not true? Looney Tunes, the Monopoly bloke, and now Shaggy, and I got them all wrong. Is this because the memories I have are old memories dating back to my childhood? Is this the same for everyone else who remembers the same thing? Or is something else going on? How about Kit Kat or Coca-Cola? Which one of these brands has a hyphen? You know, the dash between the two words. None of them? Both of them? Or maybe just one of them? You're thinking now, trying to vision the logos in your mind. Well, the answer is neither of them. Yet once again, I could have sworn Coca-Cola had a hyphen at the very least, but neither do and neither ever have. Something fishy is definitely going on. Something's amiss. Believe it or not, some think this is all down to a parallel simulation, a matrix, a different timeline or world running alongside our own. That reminds me, the film, The Matrix. Remember the line from Morpheus to Neo? What if I told you everything you knew to be true is a lie? How many of you remember that line? Well, he never ever said that. It's all a collective misremembrance that doesn't exist. How about Tom Cruise during the dance scene in Risky Business? He had a white shirt and shades on, right? Wrong. It was a pink shirt and no shades. Or Star Wars. Now this one, I've got to get right, I'm sure. Darth Vader spoke the line to the young Jedi, Luke, I am your father. Yeah, he did. Nope, he didn't. Just like Captain Kirk on the Starship Enterprise never ever said, beam me up, Scotty. And this one is the weirdest of the lot. In the famous film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the evil queen looks at her reflection and asks the question, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Pretty easy, that one. But hold it. Did she say that? Nope. The actual words were magic mirror on the wall, not mirror, mirror. Flummoxed me. Now, it's quite easy for an individual to get it wrong now and again, but when thousands, if not millions, get it wrong, and they all have the same memory of it, something isn't right, is it? Is it our minds playing tricks on us, or is it someone else pulling a fast one? Before we go into all the history we've thought happened a certain way but didn't, let's just have a quick look at a few more and test you. Everyone's favourite Pokemon, Pikachu. He had a yellow tail with a black tip, correct? Wrong. No black tip. Curious George had no tail, correct? This is correct, despite folk remembering him swinging through the trees with a curly tail. He had no tail and never has had. Quickly, out of these 5, which one of these is correct and how you remember it? Number 1 or number 2? Skechers. Number 1 or number 2? The Flintstones. 1 or 2? Laughing Cow? Febreze? Mickey Mouse? Braces or no braces? Let us know in the comments how many you got wrong. I won't embarrass myself with my score. Talking of Mickey Mouse, how about the Disney logo? A hell of a lot of people remember the start of a Disney film included Tinkerbell flying around with wand in hand and swooping down and dotting the I in the word Disney. Nope, didn't happen apparently. Sometimes it all gets found out. Fruit of the Loom being one. A few years back, a lady took to social media stating that the Fruit of the Loom logo had changed. It had changed from a collective bundle of fruit with a cornucopia to just a bundle of fruit. The cornucopia had been removed, but Fruit of the Loom deny this had ever happened. The company says that its logo has never featured a cornucopia, but the lady found an old t-shirt of hers with the tag still intact. The tag bore the logo of Fruit of the Loom, and lo and behold, the cornucopia was on it. Now this could be one of many things. The t-shirt with the logo with the cornucopia could have been a low quality replica, but then Fruit of the Loom are not a top brand and not a designer label as such that attracts forgeries anyhow. Or simply the lady could have been lying and had the tag made purposefully, or the company are lying and hiding something that they don't want us to know about. Anyways, it makes no sense, and it's certainly weird and falls into the Mandela Effect. There are tons more like this. These are just a few of the hundreds of examples out there, and the crazy thing is, these aren't just isolated incidents. People across the world from different backgrounds and cultures often share the same false memories. So what's going on here? The Mandela Effect doesn't just affect logos or brands or movie scripts, etc. It also has a place in historical events. There are events in our lifetimes and beyond that we, and I say we when I mean most, have it all wrong, and some of them are bizarre. Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa, yeah? Aha, you thought I was going to say that he didn't then, didn't you? But don't worry, he did. Oops, wrong one. But how do you remember the painting? Is she sad or is she smiling? Bearing in mind that when somebody is sad, there is a saying, cheer up, you've got a face like Mona Lisa. Well, in actual fact, she is smiling. Once again, I got it wrong. The Mandela Effect also applies to former US President Benjamin Franklin. How? Well, he was never president of the Americas. Yet tons of people, even some Americans, think he was. But he wasn't. History and how we perceive it is playing tricks on us. Don't ask me how, but it is. Even simple memories are being questioned about historical facts. World War I and II. What colour were most of the warships, like the frigates and the destroyers, for instance? Some say a kind of military light brown. Others say a dull, meaningless light grey. But what if I was to tell you that most were multicoloured in bright colours with all different shapes painted on them? You'd think I was losing it. But in actual fact, a massive number of these ships were in fact bright, multicoloured with shapes painted on them. They are known as dazzle ships. They were painted this way to confuse anyone looking through a periscope from an enemy sub or a U-boat. No one ever told me that at history class in school. If they did, I wasn't listening. Again. I'd always thought the warships were a yucky grey colour, boring actually, but to find out about the dazzle ships shocked me. What about the Hindenburg disaster? Who remembers that? Or at least remembers seeing the footage of it? What a tragedy. It's horrendous to see and ended the life of the Zeppelin air balloon. All the passengers and the crew perishing in such a way. Well, that's how most remember it, and understandably so. But, and here we go again, out of the 97 on board, did you realise that 62 of them survived? No, me neither. How on earth they survived beats me, but they did. And I, amongst thousands of others, had no idea that 2/3 of the passengers and crew survived. That's not how I remember it. What about you? And this, the last one for now. Remember the 1930s story of Charles Lindbergh and how his 20-month-old baby was kidnapped? It's one of the most notorious and infamous crimes of the 20th century. And how no one was ever convicted of the crime and the baby was never found? Well, I had to triple check this because I was convinced that the poor little baby had never been found. But believe it or not, the baby was found. Sadly, he had been murdered and left by the side of the road. And also someone was convicted of this heinous crime and was sentenced to death and executed in 1936. The Mandela Effect raises a lot of questions about how we remember things and why so many people can misremember the same details. Let's dive into some of the leading theories. One of the most common explanations is that these false memories are the result of confabulation, a process where our brains fill in gaps in our memories with information that seems to make sense but isn't actually accurate. It's done not on purpose, but without any notion nor intention to deceive others. Another theory ties into the concept of false memories, which can be influenced by social and cognitive factors. When we discuss our memories with others, we might unknowingly alter our recollection based on their input. Chinese whispers, if you will. Then there's the idea of cognitive dissonance, where our brains struggle to reconcile conflicting information, sometimes resulting in distorted memories that feels more comfortable or logical. There's a lot of that flying about at the moment, that's for sure. But I never said that. But if we want to get a little more out there, some people believe the Mandela Effect could be evidence of parallel universes or alternate realities. In this scenario, the discrepancies in our memories could be caused by crossing over from one universe, where things are slightly different, into another. This would explain why so many recollect the same thing, even though it's wrong, or so we're told it's wrong. Another fascinating explanation comes from quantum physics, especially the idea of many world interpretations. This theory suggests that all possible outcomes of any event actually happen, each in its own separate universe. If these universes sometimes interact, It might explain why some of us remember things differently. Of course, these are just theories, and the truth might be something else entirely. But one thing is for sure, the Mandela Effect challenges our understanding of memory, reality, and even the nature of each and everyone's consciousness. The Mandela Effect isn't just an interesting psychological phenomenon. It also has real-world implications. People have reported feeling genuine distress when they discover that a memory they were certain of isn't shared by others or by reality. This can lead to feelings of disorientation or even questioning one's own sanity. Some people have formed online communities to discuss their experiences, share new examples, and seek comfort in knowing they're not alone. There's even a growing interest in how the Mandela Effect might impact legal proceedings, eyewitness testimony, and historical records. If so many of us can misremember something as simple as a movie quote, what does that mean for our ability to accurately record more important events? As we continue to explore the mysteries of the Mandela Effect, one thing is clear: our memories are not as reliable as we'd like to believe. But maybe, just maybe, that's what makes them so fascinating. So what do you think? Is the Mandela Effect just a freakish aspect of human memory? Or could it be something more? Something that hints at the very fabric of reality itself? Are our minds both incredible and yet incredibly fallible? You be the judge. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Mandela Effect, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more explorations into the mysteries of our world. And let me know in the comments, have you experienced the Mandela Effect? Oh, and share this video with friends and family and see how many they get wrong. Until next time, keep questioning, because you never know when or how you're wrong. Take care.